Self-deprecating humor is not funny. I'll start by saying this, I guess, just like a short little uh, TLDR if you don't want to watch the whole thing. But anyway, let me elaborate on this. Self-deprecating humor is not funny because it's unfortunately not really working out. The whole point is that you are in a situation where you need help and it's sad or concerning or both, and that's kind of what it is. And I think that self-deprecating humor kind of muddies the water and takes away from the seriousness and kind of puts you in a feedback loop, which is very, very dangerous because it will keep you there for years, if not decades. Because I have been there. um, Ever since this little thing called depression started crawling into my life around the time I was, what, maybe a preteen or something, around that time, um, I've been self deprecating a lot. Sometimes very overtly so. In recent times, however, I've been trying to do it way less, or if I do it, it's not in a strictly talking about myself in a negative way, but being self aware of myself, not in a negative manner. For example, I make a like a joke about my body, but I don't do it to like insult myself. But I actually just make a circumstance where it's funny. Like, I don't know, I talk about food. I'm like, yeah, well, I love food, and you can see why. I don't know, something where it could be seen as self-deprecation, but it doesn't have to be. And even then, I'm trying to tone it down way more, because there's something even better than that. It's called self-appreciating humor, or basically gassing yourself up, talking about how great you are, how incredible you are, and you are. Um, Even if it's in an exaggerated manner, it doesn't have to be completely like, unironic jacking yourself off morally. It, you can just, everyone loves me, everyone wants me. you know, you just have to do that. And I think that the reason why many people can't do that is because I think that there has to be at least a tiny part of you that embraces it. Because if you force it, then nothing is going to work out. I think that there has to be a part of you that kind of like allows yourself, a part of you that like wants to give you some slack, cut you some slack. The world has been treating you too badly, but you're great, you're epic, you deserve the best, and you are cool, and everyone loves you. Because, yeah, I think that people should be nice to themselves and be more positive about themselves, even if it's an exaggerated matter. Like, a lot of people are self-deprecating themselves in an exaggerated manner. So, like, what's the problem with like doing the same but in a positive way? I think that the reason why people are inclined not to do it is because we have this sort of like self-imposed stigma where we feel like if we are too nice to ourselves, we're going to come off as like full of ourselves and with a huge ego and whatever. And here's the thing, we don't have to be humble. Like, I understand being humble is a good thing. I'm not saying, oh, don't be humble, be selfish. No, 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 no. You can still be humble while cutting yourself some slack. Being humble doesn't mean you have to hate yourself. Being humble doesn't mean you cannot be positive about yourself and you cannot give yourself the slightest amount of credit, you know? Um, and I think that's probably what people are missing. And I think what helps me, or helped me kind of realize, is that, like, I realize I have a defense mechanism when I am at a very low point and I feel terrible about myself, right? I end up sometimes cycling back to feeling on top of the world, kind of, I don't know how to explain it. Manic? I don't know if I would call it manic, but I feel like I'm on the top of the world. I feel powerful. I feel like I can do anything. And it actually really brings me back up. It sometimes even takes me out of a mental breakdown. I have a mental breakdown and I feel bad about myself, and then I end up being positive because in my mind I start feeling good. And I think even in the last last week's thing, I kind of had a bit of that, not to like the full extent, but it helps. Even making like fancy scenarios in your head where things are going great. Like when I was at my lowest, I think that was actually helping me, and being positive and appreciating myself and being nice to myself is pretty much what's kind of like one of the main things that kept me sane and kept me from doing something terrible to myself, which was, yeah, unfortunately, yeah, a struggle in of itself, but that's something else to discuss. Um, but appreciating myself and like thinking about a future scenario where I will be stable, I will be happy, I will have this stability that I'm always dreaming of. And it took years. It took a while. It was difficult. But I have gotten to a certain degree to that point. At least I am to the point where I have stability. I have independence. I have many of the things I was wishing and dreaming for. And I'm there. And I think that keeping that in your mind, just in the back of your mind, and thinking, I'll do it, I'll get to it, and being positive, and like, and having like these, like, I guess, scenarios in your head, you keep cycling, thinking about, I'm going to do so well, I will have everything I want, and I'll be fine, and everyone will love me, and I'll be incredible. That helped. At least it helped me a lot. And yeah, it worked out, and I'm I've gone there. It's really funny because, like, years ago I would have thought, yeah, that shit's not working. All I'm doing is deluding myself, and well, I'm here. Sometimes it helps being a bit delusional, I guess. Well, to a realistic amount, and also being self-aware enough to understand that, like, there is a difference between, like, you know your delusions being, oh, I am going to do well, I'm going to be happy, I'm going to have the stability I always wanted. And it's another thing to, like, have, I don't know, the delusions of, like, some sort of, like, something criminal. Like, I'm not talking about that. um but yeah, I think that appreciating yourself and giving yourself love and credits for just being you is good. Even like small reminders of being yourself. Like, for example, I make it a habit to at least once a week I get myself something nice. It's it may be just a shallow little thing, but it's a reminder, a way to thank myself. I've made it this far. I survived almost 26 years of my life. You deserve this. I deserve this. you know, and it does help also. It's kind of a way to give yourself some love, some well deserved love. And I know not everyone can afford it. I mean, hell, I couldn't afford it for like years. um, due to how things were for me. But I'm there now. I'm able to do this. And honestly, reminding yourself that you are deserving of love and you deserve to treat yourself just for being you is something more people should do. You don't need to like reward yourself necessarily for doing this or that. Just give yourself small little rewards for just making it to next week, for sticking it together, for just being awesome. you know, just something simple like that. And hell, you can even like make short term plans. Like for example, in my case, how usually weekly I buy a Switch game, for like a first party Switch game. And my goal is to have every first party Switch game, and I'm very close to that goal, minus the upcoming games. And the point is, I I've done it, and it feels very rewarding. It's also kind of showing of how me treating myself and reminding myself that I'm human also kind of can contribute to personal goals in some way. And I think that they should go hand in hand because treating yourself makes you feel better and achieving a goal makes you feel better. It's a double whammy. You feel better on one hand and you feel better on the other. And again, I know not everyone can afford this and not everyone can just do it. But just any way you can, try to like at least give yourself some credit, cut yourself some slack, be nice to yourself. Because I listened to Tyler the Creator, and there's a song on Goblin called Radicals. I don't know how much he like. I know he doesn't like Goblin as an album that much, and I don't either. Like some of the songs are super edgy. The production is still good, but like yeah, lyrically it's like eh. But there's this song called Radicals, and I love that song. Not necessarily because it's the most beautiful track he's made. Nah, but I feel like the message at like behind all of it is very positive because it's about just doing your thing, being yourself, because you're the most important person in your life. And I'm gonna look for the exact quote, like for the exact thing that I want, like they want us to go to their schools and be fucking miserable at the fucking college studying that bullshit. Fuck that. Do what the fuck makes you happy, because at the end, who's there? You. And especially the part at the end, like at the end, who's there? You. And that really struck a chord with me because I realized, yeah, the one person I need to make happy the most is myself. Because sure, your peers, your friends, they're there for you. They can be there for hours every day. They can be there for half a day. They can be there for like most of the day. But the only person who's there with you and for you from the second you're born until the second you leave this world is yourself. And that is the person you should make happy. Yourself. Of course, other people, what other people feel and think matters, but it's mostly a matter of, being a decent human being in that case. But if, I don't know, If you want to listen to something, go listen to it. If you want to dress up in a certain way, do it. If you want to, like, as long as you're not hurting anyone, just be yourself, do your thing. And I'm thinking about how people are trying to, like, find ways to, like, do that but also not do that. Like the concept of guilty pleasures, I used to, like, kind of engage into that stuff too, but now I realize there's no such thing as guilty pleasures. You just enjoy something. Guilty pleasure is when you enjoy something but you're too ashamed to do it. You shouldn't be ashamed of something unless it's morally bad or whatever. It's like you should just unapologetically do it. I used to be very hush hush into my teen years about listening to pop music because, like, the cutesy bubblegum pop music, especially when I was in the closet, because I didn't want to be made fun of. But what satisfaction does self-censoring give you? Because now I've embraced that part of myself fully, and I one of the most listened to artists I have right now, probably like NSYNC, I think, and I listen to NSYNC. I love pop music. It's good, and I even see this in, like, circles where it's like, oh, you gotta listen to this music to fit in. It's like, why? Do you have to exclusively listen to this? Like, why is there such a thing as objectively good or bad music in that regards? Like, if you like listening to Britney Spears and you're a long-haired, long-beard metalhead with, like, body full of tattoos, who cares? Who should care? You like Britney Spears, go ahead, sing Toxic to your fellow bikers. I don't know. Like, if they give you shit, and they start putting you down for it, fuck them. If someone puts you down for loving yourself, for being kind to yourself, for self-appreciative humor, for when you say, I am great, I am incredible, I am fantastic, and everyone loves me, I am the hottest person on planet Earth, if someone puts you down for it, I'm gonna say it's gonna be a hard pill to swallow, but fuck them. Honestly, like, they're not worth keeping around. If someone cannot be happy alongside you, if someone cannot be happy because you're happy and can only fathom being around you when you're miserable and hating yourself, that's not a person worth keeping around. Because guess what? Those people operate on the same concept as bullies do. What is the idea of a bully? Someone who's weak and wants to feel strong by putting down someone who's more vulnerable, so they end up being the weaker ones. These people don't operate the exact same way because they're not going to, like, harass you. But what they're going to do is they're going to enjoy your company only when you're underneath them. Because if you treat yourself nice, then it means that you're setting yourself to be an equal. Or you're saying, I am better than dirt. Some people will want you to feel like dirt and stay like that because they want you to be underneath them. They want to feel good about themselves and they want you to hate yourself. And if you meet one of those people, keep them as far away from you or your loved ones as possible. They will, if you give them one finger, they'll steal your whole arm away. Don't let them. But just my point is, embrace who you are. Be yourself authentically. Give yourself enough appreciation. Cut yourself some slack. It's a matter of that. We are our worst critics. We're hyper aware of minuscule details about ourselves. Like, oh my god, this little detail, oh my god, it's gonna be so problematic for me, like, to have, like, oh, I have like this tiny hair on my face, or I don't know, oh, I have this tiny acne, and you feel like you're the ugliest person on planet Earth, right? And then you go to your friend and they look at you and they're like, you look great, you're beautiful, what the fuck is wrong with you? Because guess what? You're the only person who hates you. You're your worst critic. Most people are not going to care about your flaws because they have their own flaws to hyperanalyze. Like, gonna be honest. And sure, you may say, well, there's some people who do that on the internet, but those people tend to be like I said, bullies and haters, or people who are like weak and they want to put others down. Basically, bullies, yeah. It's just a different form of them. The point is, you shouldn't give any of those people power because they will put you down even if there's nothing wrong with you. They will just look for any minuscule detail. And if there's nothing wrong with you, they will even take something that is supposed to be good and use it against you. That actually happened with me. When I was in high school, things were going well for me. There was like a girl that like really liked me and was like really cool, and classmates started mocking me for it. It's like, the point is, you cannot win against bullies of any kind. Don't give them the time of your day. Don't give them attention. Just do your thing. Be yourself. Embrace who you are. And fuck all the people who have a problem with it. It's simple like that. If you're struggling, don't rely on self-deprecating humor. Talk honestly and earnestly about it. Because self-deprecating humor does nothing but make it kind of hard for someone to like actually reach out and like help you. Because when you turn it into a joke, many people will also see it, either A, will see it as a joke, or B, will kind of normalize that you're just treating yourself like shit. And this is not to say, oh, you cannot ever do self-deprecating humor. If it works, then okay, go ahead. But I think that toning it down or cutting it out as much as you can is good. And I think you should replace the humor with at least just earnest talking about, hey, I am struggling with this. I feel vulnerable. Opening yourself up to friends is fine. I have a vent account for that reason. Many people have vent accounts. Like, I may vent a ton in my vent account, but I'd rather do that than like make some sort of like joke about some insecurity, I guess. I can do that. I may do that sometimes, but I try not to. Or at least like I try to do it as little as possible. And I try to appreciate myself as much as I can, because appreciating myself, self-appreciative humor, self-appreciation, and basically reminding yourself that you deserve good things just because you are, literally saved my life through the worst times. It's why I'm still here. It's why I'm still alive. And it's the one thing I wish more people did for their own sakes.